G'day, Dr. Tony here with an episode of Realms of Power. Today's topic is around appreciation and the energy and vitality that we can create with appreciation and how that can turn our power on. Our paradigm, our view of the world, if it's seen through appreciation, can turn on so much power in every one of the different 12 realms that we've talked about in Realms of Power. Now, at the retreat, we came up with the 6 behaviors that people often revert to when they're in the opposite energy of appreciation. And that is judge, justify, whinge, whine, blame, and bitch. And look, we've all done some of that in our lives, myself included. I still catch myself, but at least I've created more awareness around that. And if there's a possibility to reframe those energies into the beautiful energy of appreciation, wow, how much power have you switched in yourself? We're really all on this journey through life. And in that journey, we learn certain things, we have certain behaviors that have been locked into us from childhood. And in those childhood things, we're often trying to make ourselves feel safe. We're trying to fit in. We're trying to receive love and feel supported and that we're good enough or worth being here. A lot of people have self-worth issues and they can appreciate other things, but they don't sometimes even appreciate themselves. So let's look into that energy today of appreciation and how that could turn your power on. So I want to start with those 6 behaviors and we'll go through each one and just look at how just the vitality of switching to appreciation can really change that and you can catch yourself in the moment. Because really, often when we've said the thing and we go, wish I'd taken that back, and we buggered up our timing, if we can catch ourselves in the moment with a reframe of appreciation, then it's really a journey in this life where you're feeling more powered, you're passionate and lit up. And really the appreciation again might be self-appreciation or truly appreciating another person, or it might even be appreciating something about nature or the circumstance you're in. Could be appreciating your finance. So if again, you look at all of the different realms, appreciation is a beautiful vibration and energy to be in. So the first behavior I want to talk about is judgment. And so when we are judging someone or something, that judgment really comes from a place of wanting to feel better about yourself. And those comparisons that often are running in the background and might be judging the way someone looks. And with the social media and those sort of things in our current timeline, we then are so confronted with judgment. Even the whole advertising industry is about comparisons. And what do I look like? What do I feel like? And we're judging ourselves in how good we feel, how good we look, how good we are at school, how good we are at sport, how good we are financially or in our job or career path, how good we are in our relationships. And each of those becomes a judgment. So sometimes there are times when you just have to make a judgment call, and that's okay. But the energy I'm talking about is when we're becoming judgy, like when we're really feeling that we know better or that person's doing something wrong. And we haven't really walked a mile in their shoes. We don't know what it was really like for them. So the energy around judgment, it can become quite toxic. And a lot of relationships break up over continually feeling judged or judging. And so if you're judging your partner is not good enough, or if you're judging your child should be doing better, when they might be doing their best with their skills and you're not in their shoes. So judgment really, the switch here is like, what's it like from their perspective? And what's it really like? A lot of empaths feel they take on other people's energy, but that doesn't necessarily mean they can truly see it from that person's perspective. So that switch of perspective might make you a little more aware of just pausing in the moment and looking at your judgment of what you've done up to now and going, how could I be less judgmental? Now, the switch we've talked about here is appreciation. And if you can switch and catch yourself in the moment that you are judging someone and or something and what they or that would feel like with your judgment is not uplifting, then maybe switching that to an appreciation of that judgment, an appreciation of the totality of that situation, and looking at the scale of that person's life or that other perspective really allows you to find that energy of appreciation. How good does it feel when someone's truly given you a great acknowledgement and appreciated you for what you've done? Well, it starts with giving. So if you can give more acknowledgement, if you can really hit the nail on the head and get that acknowledgement right for that person, that judgment is a really great space to be in because it lifts them up and it lifts you up by default. So let's look at that judgment, catching yourself in the moment, switching it to appreciation, and seeing the totality of the situation rather than judging a part of that situation. That is a really great skill to help you turn your power on. So, the next energy I want to talk about is justification. Just if I tell my story. And so, if someone goes, justify, explain why I did this or why I did that. And they're justifying, they're holding the energy of explaining the excuses, the reasons why, to try and make themselves feel better about what they did or what their interaction was. That energy can be really toxic and it can be avoiding the situation because you're justifying why. You're being righteous in some sort of level and explaining the reasons versus just accepting of what is. So if you're really appreciating that someone's given you some feedback and being open to receive that feedback, it's much easier to discern in the moment that that feedback is true feedback that's trying to help you improve a situation, or it might be that that person is running their own energy and they are projecting their stuff onto you. So rather than justifying with the response, you could be appreciating that that feedback in the moment might be there to uplevel you, or you might be able to appreciate in the moment that that might be their thing and you don't have to fix them. You can just acknowledge that for what it is, but appreciate the story rather than have to defend yourself in justification. So the next one is whinge. Oh my God, whinging. When you're with someone and they're whinging and whinging and whinging, that energy is a really draining energy. I'm sure you have felt it. When someone is whinging and they're carrying on, that energy can bring the level down. So in that whinge, there might be a real truth that needs to be acknowledged. And there might be an appreciation that that person's really going through it. And by sending out positive energy and appreciation and love, that might allow that person to up level as well. It may be that that person is vibrating at that whinging frequency, and there's nothing you can do other than just hold space, but also be strong in your boundaries. Because if that person and hanging around that person is bringing you down, then by creating your stronger boundary and appreciating that there's a lesson in here for you, that lesson might be that that boundary, you no longer want to be associated with that whingy energy. Now, the other possibility, and it's just a possibility, is that you're the one doing the whinging. All right. So if you can catch yourself in the moment of being whingy about something, whinge, 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 then appreciate that you've had the ability to create awareness in your field, to come up out of your body and almost catch yourself and not even judge yourself, just going, wow, I was whingy there. I was whinging about that situation, that thing that on some level I've chosen to be in. And by catching yourself in the whingy, you then can appreciate the fact that you have the discernment to say, I want to stamp out that behavior. I want to stop that whingy energy in my field. And therefore, by vibrating at a higher level in the true energy of appreciation, you will be able to find that you are turning your power on, that you are here to do what you really love doing, which is one of the great energies in realms of power that we've been going for. If you're whinging, it means you're probably not doing the things that you love doing. And the whole point of Realms of Power is to do more of what you love doing, to be authentic, do what you love doing, and have ultimate freedom. So when the whingy energy comes up, what a great opportunity to appreciate that that energy has been seen and observed. And without judgment, you can just start dissipating that flow of the whingy energy if you're the one whinging. And if it is someone else, that might be a great appreciation for the boundaries of what you're willing to tolerate. Well, the next one is whining. And whining is sort of the same as whinging, but whining has got a neediness attached to it. They're whining about something. Whinging is more like manipulative and they're just trying to draw you in, whereas whining is more needy. It's soupy. It's like, oh, you feel like it can go on you or in your field. So again, if you're noticing someone else whining about there, appreciate that might be a great opportunity for you to stand up into your power as a great leader and actually help them observe the behavior they're doing and help them up level and stand into their power. What a great opportunity if whiny, needy energy is there. If it's a child whining about something, you can reframe and redirect, and it gives you a great opportunity in the realms of power to stand strong. If you're the one whining, wow. Okay, again, it's an energy that you really don't want to be vibrating at. So in up-leveling your vibration, you can then really radiate what you're here to truly do. And it's not just in the physical 3D world. Think about the spiritual realm for a moment. The spiritual realm might be your higher purpose, your ability to really have the true manifestation of what you're trying to create in this world. So if you're whining about your current circumstances or whining and whinging about something that's happened in the past, what again, a great opportunity to drop into that energy, that true vibrational energy of appreciation. It really is a vibration level that your cells will respond to. Most people are really looking for some sort of peace, some sort of joy, some sort of freedom and vibration. So appreciation is a much better path than whinging and whining. All right. The next energy is blame. Now, blame is really that lowest energy. There's blame, justify, and responsibility. And blame is the lowest of the three because you're not even justifying to why you did that. You're just blaming someone else. You're truly blaming the situation. It's external from you. You've had no influence on that whatsoever. Well, the truth is, on some level, that's come into your field. So by taking a switch into responsibility, not blaming the other person, blaming the environment, blaming the finances, blaming the government, really stepping into your power. And again, giving yourself a shining a light opportunity by catching yourself in the moment, shining the light on yourself. Sometimes if you had a torch, shine it on your face and go, wow, I just caught myself in blame mode. How many relationships end over blame, blaming the other person for not stepping up, blaming the other person for something else? Now, look, sometimes people do some bad shit, all right? And yes, that's right. It was their fault. That's the truth of the matter. So that's square. But if you're finding you're in that energy of blame, 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 and you're not in that energy of taking responsibility for what is yours and holding that vibration of appreciation, again, it's such another great level for you to be able to stand into your power, to turn your power on. Your tap is true aligned power. How many times would you have to put $1 in a jar for the amount of times in one day that you blame someone else, something else for something? Come out of that and come into your own sovereignty, your own power. Then things happen by you and as you. They don't just happen to you. They happen by the vibration that you're creating. That is spiritual upleveling on the highest platform. So the last one is bitch. Now, bitch is slightly different to the whinging and whining because bitching has a real dark energy. You're actually trying to enroll others because you're bitching about something. And enrolling others, that bitchy energy really is a true opposite of appreciation. You're bitching about this, you're bitching about that. And look, people create little circles and bitch circles, right? That's what the word, some people go, oh, what a bitch, and that it's not a female or a male thing. There's many men out there that bitch about stuff. So really just again, if it's you doing the bitching, up level, switch into appreciation. If someone else is bitching about it again, you can find that boundary and go, let's give them some feedback in a way that doesn't make them wrong, but just makes them see the energy and what vibrational energy that's doing. I've talked about vibration a number of times in those examples. Now, what really happens in the physical body when the vibration is low? What happens in the 3D body, your muscles, your bones, your, actual physical body? In those low vibrations, it starts by being out of balance, out of alignment. And that leads to poor health. If that's left long enough, it literally will shorten your quality and quantity of life. How important is that? So the up leveling here is coming into appreciation for what you do have and catching yourself in those 6 energies can actually improve your health in the 3D. And in your biochemistry, it can even improve. It has flow-on effects of that. There's been many experiments about positive intentions, appreciation. They've done experiments with plants and water, even the crystals formed in water, with water having a positive intention. Masaru studies are quite famous. A lot of people might have looked into that. And putting appreciation actually changes the crystalline structure of your water. So most of us are made up of water. Therefore, if that's happening on the 3D body and the physical body, what's that actually doing to our spiritual body? Staying in that vibration, that higher vibration, actually leads to more joy. Positive manifestation is easier in that state. Flow, ease, all of those things work a lot higher in appreciation. Even the finances, are you appreciating your finances? Are you appreciating the money you've got? Every dollar that comes in, are you honoring that dollar or are you just wasting it and bitching about it and being stuck there? Now, I know I've had energy in each of those different realms, and that's why we're doing Realms of Power. I've been able to form a framework in these podcasts and in our retreats and the coaching I've done for so many years, and as a chiropractor too, to help people restore alignment. Now, when someone comes in pain, and it's very hard to think about your vitality and your positivity when you're really in physical pain. So doing the principles of appreciating the body's ability to heal itself and working with those principles, the people always get better results versus if they're blaming, if they're bitching, if they're whinging, if they're whining, that just drags on and on. So I know for a fact In healing, the higher your level of appreciation of your own body, the better. In relationships, the higher you appreciate your parents, the higher you appreciate your children, your partner, your extended family, appreciate them for who they are. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to necessarily change. The family you're with, the people you're with, the partner you're with, just because you go into appreciation, that doesn't automatically mean that they're going to stop whinging, whining, bitching, and carrying on. And if you drop into judgment of them for doing that, well, you're back in the loop. So, stepping into that powerful place of awareness, of appreciation, and looking at the lens of appreciation will power up your body unbelievably so. If there's an opportunity you've got today to take some action on this step, what does appreciation sound like from your perspective? What could you truly appreciate today? And that doesn't have to cost you any money or any extra time. Looking at your life, that your day through the eyes of appreciation, and it might be the appreciation in nature. It's one of the best examples. Just appreciating the trees, appreciating the ground under your feet, bare feet connecting to Mother Earth and grounding, and appreciating that. Appreciating and trusting your breath, that you didn't forget to breathe. That is life. Just appreciating, that's right, my body's going to remember to breathe and my heart's going to remember to keep going without me having to think about it. How much do you appreciate your own heartbeat? How much do you appreciate the clothes on your back? How much do you appreciate shelter? I watched that series Alone, which is one of those reality shows, but they're put out into nature and have to appreciate building shelter, getting food, just basic necessities of life. And it's a real interesting program because we can talk about living out in nature, but how many of us are really doing that? And appreciating the great modern comforts that we do have even more might just help your day a little bit more. And sometimes just the best appreciation is just smiling, smiling at someone, letting someone in traffic, appreciating the fact that you could pay that bill to get electricity, that you could go to the shop and buy some food. We all know in those comparisons that there are people in the world that are worse off than us. And there are some people that are better off than us. But just appreciating the fact that you were even born and are here on this realm from a spiritual perspective, what a great vibrational energy that could be for you today and help you to turn your power on. Thank you again for listening to these episodes of Realms of Power. I'd love you to share them, help someone inspire their day with some appreciative words. Think of the best compliment you could possibly give someone today, something that from their perspective would really mean something to them. Not just the first thing that comes to your mouth. Give it some time, let it resonate, and see what the best compliment you could give someone today is, and appreciate them for what they've done for you. And your parents, doesn't matter if they've done good or bad, hard or strong, there would be some things that they may have done that you haven't fully appreciated. You weren't in their shoes, and a lot of the time they're doing the best they could be. Not all parents, sometimes things go wrong, but I want you to stay today in that energy of appreciation. And the easiest, best one you can do of all is just to appreciate yourself. So thanks again for tuning in. Have an awesome day. See ya.